Hello everyone. Now we have chapter 3. Today we're going to delve into types and patterns of innovation. The first one we're going to look at in this chapter is various types of innovations, how we can classify innovations. Then we will also talk about two typical patterns of innovation, S-curves and cycles. At the last chapter, we saw that technology innovation can come from many different sources and take many different forms. And different types of technological innovation offer different opportunities. These are several dimensions that can be used to categorize innovations. And these dimensions help clarify how different innovations offer different opportunity on producers, users, and regulators. So we will first review some dimensions that are often used to categorize innovations. Then we are moving on patterns of innovation. Here we have an important concept, technology trajectory. Technology trajectory refers to the path a technology follows through time. Although it cannot be generalized, many consistent patterns have been observed in technology trajectories, which helps us understand how technologies improve and are diffused. One of the consistent patterns are technology S-curves that are observed in the rate of technology improvement and technology diffusion. The innovation patterns can also be analyzed as a cycle. So we'll cover famous theories on technology cycles at the last part of this chapter. Understanding the types and patterns of innovations can provide a useful foundation for the formulation of a technology strategy. The first topic we're going to go over is types of innovation. The four dimensions most commonly used to categorize innovations are product versus process innovation, radical versus incremental innovation, and competence enhancing versus competence destroying innovation, and architectural versus component innovation. The first dimension we're going to talk about is product versus process innovation. Obviously, the dimension is about object and innovation. Product innovation is innovation embodied in the outputs of an organization, like goods and services. By the way, what are goods here? It is a term in economics. Goods refer to commodities that are tangible. Then, what is a product? What's the difference between product and good? The difference between goods and products. What is a product? In a broad sense, a product means something sold by an enterprise to its customers. So when this is the case, products includes both goods and services. So a product innovation indicates a new good for manufacturing companies, and it also indicates a new service for service companies. On the other hand, products refers to physical goods in a narrow sense, which means product is a synonym of good. So in this case, product is also an antonym against the service. You should remember that product here in product innovation is usually used in a broad sense, which includes both goods and services. Let us turn to process innovation. Process innovation is innovation in the way an organization conducts its business. Process innovations are often oriented toward improving the effectiveness or efficiency of production. Also, you should not be confused with the concept of efficiency and effectiveness. Are you aware of the differences between two concepts, efficiency and effectiveness? Efficiency is about do things right. And effectiveness is about do the right things. So what this means is efficiency is about producing more outputs with less inputs, while effectiveness indicates the level of achievement of the intended results. For example, reducing defect rates in a manufacturing process is aimed at improving effectiveness, not efficiency. On the other hand, increasing the quantity that may be produced in a given time with a given effort is about efficiency. So you need to distinguish between efficiency and effectiveness. While we are talking about the difference between product and process innovation, the two innovations often occur in tandem. New process may enable the production of new products, and product innovation can enable process innovation. For example, developing advanced workstations is definitely a product innovation. If a firm used the workstations for their manufacturing, which is called computer aided manufacturing, it can enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of their process, which is considered as process innovation. Also, a product innovation for one organization might be a process innovation for another. For example, do you know what UPS is? It is a global shipping and logistics services. If UPS creates a new distribution service like same day delivery, it is definitely a product innovation because what UPS sells is delivery service, which means delivery service is a product of UPS. In the meanwhile, a customer company of UPS used the new delivery service to reach out to its customer. The company can reduce the processing time to customers, so it can be considered a process innovation for the company. The next dimension is about radicalism. Before we talk about the radicalism, let me show you a video about the evolution of a mobile phone first. What do you think? Is it interesting? Obviously, all of these are product innovations. Some of them are very new, advanced compared to previous ones, like the first iPhone or Ch.3 for the phone. In other words, they are radical. On the other hand, some of them are not so different from previous ones, just a slight differences. In other words, they are incremental. This is what I'm talking about here, radical versus incremental innovation. Radical refers to the degree to which it is new and different from previously existing products and processes. Radicalism can also be defined in terms of risk or uncertainty. High risk, high uncertainty, high radicalism. When you say something is radical, it means it embodies new knowledge, which are unfamiliar with customers and suppliers. Thus, suppliers may not be able to produce components that are necessary to make the innovation. Also, customers may not like the new product. All of these are risks. Using the dimension of radicalism, we can say some innovations are incremental or radical. Incremental innovation encompasses only a minor change from existing practices. For example, the change of iPhone 14 from iPhone 13. A radical innovation contains major change from existing practices, such as the emergence of iPhone compared with feature phones. The radicalism of an innovation is quite relative. It may change over time. An innovation that was considered radical may eventually be considered incremental as the underlying knowledge becomes more common. The radicalism may also differ according to actors or forms. An innovation which is radical to one form may be incremental to another. Let me give you an example. Do you know Kodak and Sony? Both Kodak and Sony introduced digital camera in 1990s, but the two paths to the innovation were quite different. For which company do you think it is radical? Although Kodak has rich experience in producing camera, its capability is totally based on chemical photography. So transition to digital photography was quite radical to Kodak. On the other hand, although Sony didn't have experience in producing camera, it had been an electronic company. So Sony has good and rich knowledge of digital recording and graphics. So it is just incremental to Sony. One another dimension we need to consider is competence enhancing versus competence destroying. The criteria is the degree of effects on an existing knowledge base of a firm. An innovation is considered to be competence enhanced if it builds on the firm's existing knowledge base. For example, iPhone 11, 12, 13, 14 is a competence-enhancing innovation. Each generation of iPhone embodies innovation, and this innovation just leverages Apple's existing competencies, making them more valuable. However, if an innovation renders the firm's existing competencies obsolete, it is competence destroying. I'll give you an example of a competence destroying through a video clip.
Nokia, once known as the most popular brand in the mobile industry, they dominate the phone industry for over a decade, but then they lost it all, pushing them on the verge of bankruptcy. But since 2017, Nokia phones have started to come back in the market. Today, we will discuss what had happened and how they are coming back. Nokia is a Finnish company that increased Finland's GDP by more than 1.5%. Nokia accounted for almost a quarter of Finland's exports in 2003. In 2006, Nokia's revenue exceeded the state budget of Finland. Their 2100 series sold over 20 million devices worldwide. By 2007, Nokia had a 50% share of the mobile market. So, what happened to Nokia? Well, many think their downfall was due to poor management, where some believe they had tough competitors. Switching gears for a second, in 2007, Apple came out with its first ever iPhone, the iPhone 1. It was discontinued in 2008. One thing Apple learned from their first iPhone was that people love the touchscreen option. Also, their operating system was a success. At its core, Nokia was known for its hardware. In 2008, Nokia bought the Symbian, the operating system. They were still dominating the market ahead of competitors such as Windows Mobile OS and RIM's BlackBerry. This was a time for innovations. Phone technology was getting old and people were getting bored. First company to hit the markets with something new would take over the market, and Apple took advantage. With Apple's third iPhone release in 2009, they had upgraded to iPhone OS 3.0. This was a hit. Their market share doubled, reducing Nokia's share. Things were about to get super competitive for Nokia, with Google entering the market using their operating system Android. The launch of Google Nexus in 2010 helped Android become the best-selling OS worldwide. Nokia was still using Symbian. A study in June 2011 showed that over 39% of the mobile developers using Symbian had planned to switch to Android or iPhones. People preferred Android and iPhone OS because of two reasons. One, Symbian was not as popular in North America. And two, because Symbian was open-sourced later, developers could not take full advantage of the Symbian as they did with Android and iPhone OS. Nokia's sales dropped drastically. In 2007, Nokia had a market capitalization of 110 billion euro. By May 2012, this had fallen down to 14.8 billion euro. In a way, Nokia was feeling pretty good with where they were, and that is when the iPhone and Android took them over. Nokia was now planning on filing for bankruptcy, but then another major player bought them out, Microsoft. In 2013, they announced that they would acquire Nokia's mobile device business for 5.4 billion euro. So, how is Nokia making a comeback? Well, the brand Nokia was always considered a reliable brand. In 2015, Nokia Technologies released the N1 tablet running with Android. With the new OS, they sold 20,000 units in the first 4 minutes, giving the tablet a rating of 9 out of 10. Then in 2016, Microsoft announced that they would sell their phone business to a Finnish mobile phone company HMD Global for $350 million. The sale included design rights and the rights to use the Nokia brand on all types of electronic devices worldwide until 2024. For the first time since 2014, Nokia's phone was on sale in December 2016. Their first device, Nokia 150 Dual SIM with Android. Then in 2017 at the Mobile World Congress, HMD announced the relaunch of the iconic Nokia 3310. The phone was rated at 4.2. They also announced two new Android devices, Nokia 3 and Nokia 5. In 2017, the demand for Nokia's phone was 7 times higher than expected. HMD shipped millions of units of the 3, 5, and 6 across the world. 1.5 million Nokia smartphones were sold in the first half of 2017, making HMD the best-selling mobile phone vendor in Vietnam and Middle East. Then in Q2 of 2018, HMD sold 4.5 million smartphones, and in Q2 of 2019, they sold 4.8 million. Currently, the company is valued at 1 billion euro. Their brand has allowed them to quickly establish 50 locations around the world in the first 12 months of operating. Through a licensing agreement, they hold exclusive rights to the Nokia brand. Their manufacturer is someone we all are pretty familiar with, Foxconn. HMD has brought back Nokia brand for what they were known for, hardware. With new models made from a single block of 6000, 7000 series of aluminum and stainless steel, their phones are pretty strong and durable. Nokia Corporation may have gone for good, but the brand Nokia is still going strong. Nokia's story teaches us the importance of innovation and to keep up with the trends. But most importantly, to maintain a strong brand. As long as you have strong brand, loyal consumers may let go of your past mistakes and continue to do business with you. So keep an eye out for Nokia's devices in your neighborhood, just like you keep an eye out for our videos. Until next time, have a good one.
Nokia was the world's #1 cell phone manufacturer, but the emergence of smartphone had wholly changed the market. Nokia didn't have competencies for smartphone. It failed and was acquired by Microsoft, so the smartphone innovation is a competence-destroying innovation for Nokia. As we can see from the case of the smartphone innovation, whether an innovation is competence-enhancing or competence-destroying totally depends on the perspective of a particular firm. The smartphone innovation induced by Apple's iPhone is a competence enhancing for Apple, but competence destroying for the conventional mobile phone manufacturers such as Nokia and LG. The last dimension for distinguishing types of innovation is architectural versus component innovation. Most products are hierarchically nested systems, which means a product is composed of components and also a component is composed of subcomponents. So an innovation is considered a component innovation if it involves changes to one or more components of a product system without significantly affecting the overall design. An innovation is considered an architectural innovation if it encompasses changes in the overall design of the system or the way components interact. I'll explain this concept with evolution of bicycles. Do you ride a bicycle? The bike has a long history that can be explained by a series of innovation. Let me show you a video clip first. As we've just seen from the video, in the 18th century, bicycles had extremely large front wheels. This is because there were no gears, so the size of front wheels directly determined the speed. But it was not safe at all. Can you write this? After developing the gear, bicycles have the present architecture. The change from high wheel to the present form is considered as architectural innovation. But the developments of road bike or mountain bike are just component innovation because the architecture has not been changed. Only some components of bicycles are improved or changed. We just discussed the four dimensions used to categorize innovations separately. However, the dimensions are not actually independent. Each of the dimensions are somewhat related to each other. For example, architectural innovations are often considered more radical and more competence destroying. However, this does not always hold true. They do not offer a straightforward system for categorizing innovations in a precise or consistent manner. Also, it should be noted that the distinctions depends on various factors such as time frame, industry context, and firm's competence. Okay, this is the end of the discussion on types of innovations.